So, very good evening, everyone. I think it is a pleasure and honor to again be on a live talk show which we have. Today's World Heart Day. I think very relevant day for all of us. Relevant simply because if you look at it over time, and when I was younger, I was talking to Dr. Mathur before. No, we went live. I think I never worried about heart ailments. I thought this was only for people who are old. They have to worry about heart ailments and stroke. And as a youngster, I could do anything and everything was very good. But today, if I look at people in their 40s, 30s, even 20s due to heart attacks, I hear cases of strokes, I hear cases of paralysis. And if I also look at, I think, post COVID, I see a lot of such things happening and it leaves us very confused and perplexed. And obviously, we try to pick up some points from what I read in the newspaper or some articles. And I think that adds more confusion. In fact, I remember one of my doctor friends told me, Ki, Tapan, if you have Googled and come, I'll charge you double the fees. I think so. I think we're confusing ourselves a lot. And we thought best it's good to get a very good doctor, a very renowned doctor, and have a casual conversation to understand some of these features. So the next half an hour, I'll try to see and bring up this topic. And for that, we have an amazing doctor, one of the best that we have in the country, Dr. Mathur. I think he's part of the Fortis group, the executive director there. More than that, he was one person who could patent a device for very early, I think 20 years back in US. He's also been responsible for saving not only people's life from heart attack, but from stroke, from limb paralysis, and he could do all this injection. And on the cath unit, he has been doing an amazing job in the country which is doing that. So we thought nobody better than him to be in the show to help us understand this situation. So if any one of you has any question as you proceed further, don't hesitate to ask us. And I'm sure that we'll be very happy to answer and talk about it. But this is a matter of worry, a great worry for all the young professionals in the country and anybody who's been reading articles and thinking what's going wrong and right. So with this, I'd like to first open up the floor with Dr. Mathur, asking him that why this trend, Dr. Mathur, or is it that his awareness level has gone up, or no, is it that the trend has changed now, or the lifestyle has gone bad, or the environment has gone bad? Why young people are having heart attacks? And I think that is something which is a big worry to all of us. Over to you, Dr. Mathur.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. And thank you, Tapan, for the kind invitation to speak to you all. And heart fitness is very close to my heart. And I'm sure it is very important for you. As an insurance company, you would like to have people stay healthy if we prevent it in time. So it's very important for us to understand what is this new phenomenon which is happening where uh, young adults are suddenly dropping down, maybe after a stint of exercise in the gym, or there was one young person who who was heading a very big organization who succumbed while he was cycling. Then we have seen people who were performing on a stage and then they have suddenly clasped their chest and then they fell unconscious and they succumbed to it. So these things, of course, are not suddenly, it's not a new disease which has come up, but we have access to social media, which once you grab, every phone has got a recorder. So videos are taken, pictures are taken, and the social media is spreading it very fast. So that is a good thing because that's helping people get aware. But at the same time, when a lot of young people start hearing about and seeing those videos of this kind, and they also start getting fearful. They are afraid that whether it's safe for them to go to the gym or not, whether it is okay for them to go cycling or not. So it is very good that today we have an opportunity to put everything in a right perspective. Young people, there is a trend to develop heart blockages for the last several decades, last 3, 4 decades. Gradually, we are finding more and more in our practice, and more so in the last 1 or 2 decades, that people as young as 20 years of age are prone to get heart attacks. So what do we do? How do we age? But we have treated people who are 20 years of age in our hospital, who have come in the emergency. They've gone to another hospital where they were thought, nobody dreamt that they could be having a heart attack. So they were thought to be having acidity and all kinds of digenes and antacids and injections were given. Once they reached our hospital, once we do the ECG, you find that actually there is a heart attack going on. So what we need to understand is amongst our general population, we need to stratify people into two categories. One category which is at a high risk of developing heart blockages, and the other is the normal population who are not at an extremely high risk but could develop heart blockages. So, who are those people who are at a high risk of developing heart blockages? First and very most important factor is the genetic history, family history. So, if your parents, if your siblings, if any close person in your family has already had a heart attack or has had a angiography, angioplasty, or a bypass surgery done, then you should be looking at yourself with a little more suspicion and more closely. The second thing is that if you have diabetes, so we are talking of an age group between 20 and 40, and not even beyond 40, because beyond 40 we'll have more discussions. So if you have developed high blood sugar, third, if you are smoking, fourth, if you have developed high blood pressure, we are seeing a lot of young people due to stress and other issues, they're developing high blood pressure even at younger ages. And if you have high cholesterol levels in your blood. So these are the group of people who are at a high risk of having a heart attack. Now, how does a heart attack happen? So we have a heart which is situated in the middle of the chest and slightly to the left hand side, size of your fist. So this is how big the heart is. But that is the workhorse for the whole body. It determines how your health will remain. So this heart has two pumping chambers. These are called the ventricles, one on the left and one on the right, and two collecting chambers above called the atriums, auricles, which the blood is coming and the ventricles are pumping. So the right heart is pumping blood towards the lungs so that it gets oxygen and the carbon dioxide is removed. And the pure blood comes to the left side and then into the left ventricle and is pumped out through the whole to the whole body through the main trunk, which is called the aorta. And that trunk gives rise to the arteries going to the brain, going to the arms, going down in the chest to the liver, kidney, intestines, and down the legs. So that is how a cycle keeps running. The impure blood keeps coming to the right side, and the purification process takes place, and it goes from the lungs to the left side, and it's going out. So this pumping of the heart happens approximately 70 times every minute, and uh, this heart has to continue to work for all of our lives. The moment it stops, then we are gone. So for this, the heart also needs nutrition, oxygen. The muscle needs same supply to come to it. So what happens is the heart has three coronary arteries. These are again pipes. They are carrying blood to the front of the heart, to the right, and to the left of the heart. And then they have their branches, and the branches together supply the nutrition to the heart muscle continuously. And each time the heart squeezes blood out, blood is also pumped into the coronary arteries. Now, what can happen is the inner lining of these coronary arteries, the pipes which are supplying blood to the heart, the inner lining can develop cracks, micro cracks. And then we will discuss later what can cause those cracks. Once the crack opens up a little bit, the blood contents, including cholesterol and inflammatory cells, they will leak into the wall of the coronary artery. And slowly, cholesterol keeps accumulating inside that crack, forms a plaque. It's called a atherosclerotic plaque or coronary plaque. So that plaque keeps growing slowly and slowly as the accumulation of cholesterol and soft lipids and everything else goes on over a period of time and starts bulging into the lumen of the pipe. And this bulge will slowly and slowly grow in size and start obstructing the the blood flowing into the heart muscle. Now, what can happen is in younger people, these plaques are soft. So, if there is any unaccustomed exercise, or if there is an acute anxiety or stress which is coming on the person, this can lead to an adrenergic overdrive in the body. That is a sympathetic drive which is used in usually a fight or flight. When you have sympathetic system activated in the body, where the heartbeat becomes fast, the blood pressure shoots up, and the coronary arteries will go into a spasm. So if the coronary artery goes into a spasm at the point where the plaque is situated, it will lead to disruption of the plaque. It will rupture the plaque. And the contents of the plaque, which have soft cholesterol and other cells, get exposed to the blood which is flowing in the lumen. Then they suddenly trigger a clot formation. And the clot will occlude the blood artery suddenly, the coronary artery. So the blood flow, oxygen, and nutrition suddenly stops going to that portion of the heart muscle and it starts getting damaged. So when this event happens, this is called the heart attack has started. The blood flow has stopped, the heart muscle is getting damaged. The person will feel severe constricting heaviness and pain in the middle of the chest, which can be radiating like a choking in your throat, up going to the jaws, going to both the shoulders and down the hand, more on the left side, but it can also go to the right side into the wrist and the little finger. So these are classical symptoms of heart attack and can often be associated with sweating, ghabrahat, a very peculiar ghabrahat, which you'll never have felt in your lifetime. And some people can faint also during this time, can vomit throughout. So these are classical features of heart attacks. So the younger people, they generally have soft plaques. And our young population is getting exposed more and more to stresses. They may indulge in extreme physical activity without proper gradual priming in their physical fitness. Those are the things which can lead to rupture of a plaque. And even if your cholesterol blockage is not severe, severe we consider when it's more than 70%, even a 30-40% plaque can rupture and cause a heart attack. And when you have a heart attack, a lot of things can happen. One, the heart muscle is getting damaged. And second is that the electrical conduction system in the heart, which is responsible for the heartbeats. So there is a network of wiring also in the heart, very minute, that can start sparking. So the damaged area, suddenly no oxygen, no blood, and there is electrical sparking, and this can lead to seizure of the heart. So the heart can stop beating. So nearly 50% of the cases of an acute heart attack, the heart can go to a standstill, which we call a cardiac arrest. So you see that a person who has got a cardiac arrest, blood stops going to the brain, he will faint and fall down. And if it continues for another few minutes, he'll stop breathing and his heartbeat will be absent. And 3-4 minutes is enough to damage the brain permanently. So this is the new phenomenon. This is the basic understanding why it is happening. Why it is being noticed more, of course, contribution from technology to increase the awareness by social media. Everything is grabbed on videos. Plus the stressful the environment in which our younger population is working. They're trying to meet targets and goals. I hope you don't set very tough targets to your team.
Thank you, Dr. Mathur. I think if I listen to you for another half an hour, I'll become a doctor myself. I'm very close to it. No, I think sit for the MBBS exam now is what I feel like. I think I've never heard any doctor explain to me so beautifully. One, my writing is bad, but most doctors beat me to this game also. They do a better job. So I don't say what they write.
You are
Second,
a
I go
challenger.
to so second I go to doctor, I don't understand also what he's speaking. Well, in the end, I just ask him, Bhaiya, kaun si dawai I have to eat? Tell me that. That is enough for to understand. The first doctor I met, I understood so well. Hats off to you, doctor. I think it's phenomenal. I did not understand the difference between cardiac arrest and heart attack. I got that very clear. I never knew the electrical signals which I always knew a plaque we had heard about, blockage we heard about. We had not heard about so many things. But I think you spoke so beautifully. It's a pleasure listening to you. I think I saw some comments also come in that people mentioned such a beautiful thing listening to you. And on insurers, doctor, is not that we only insure people. So when somebody takes insurance with us, and I have 10,000 people working for me, all 10,000 of us pray for his well-being. No, so we are the only people in the profession
Yes.
who think well of everybody in this world. No, I think that is what it is.
Yes,
Now
it's very
coming,
important to your bottom lines and top lines.
so coming to the next point, which I just heard somebody write. I think Ashita mentioned in a comment that I stay outside and I have all this outside food. So what are the chances of my having a heart attack? Before I ask you this question, let me talk from my personal experience. I've been a hardcore salesperson most of my life, so I've been mostly been traveling. And when I was doing sales on the field, I would, whenever I feel hungry, eat whatever is available. And available means it could be like pakoras on the road or omelette on the nala side or no whatever or that bun samosa or no whatever I would get. So my cholesterol, whenever I used to do my annual checkup, everything would come out fine. My cholesterol would be high, and my triglyceride would always be high, and the ratio would not be comfortable, and that lasted for many years. About a couple of years back, I turned vegan, and when I did my last checkup, I was surprised to see that it had actually improved considerably. And I thought that this is part of my life, and I have to accept it, and I can't do anything about it. I saw a huge improvement, and the ratio at least was very comfortable, no ratio now. And I still eat out. I think 20 days in a month I travel. The only difference now is I'm conscious of what I'm eating, and in that
Exactly.
has itself made a huge difference. Nothing else has changed. Neither my traveling has changed now I'm eating, but earlier I would eat whatever. But now I'm conscious. I've turned vegan, so I'm very particular about what food I eat. And just by being conscious, I saw this huge change. Now with this, I handed over again to doctor to understand his point of view. As I'll give my personal experience of the way I've gone through this.
Absolutely. So this is one of the most important cornerstones of staying healthy, what you eat. And the biggest culprit in causing heart blockages or blockages in the arteries going to the brain or the legs is sugar, white sugar. So carbohydrates and especially white sugar is the main culprit, which will cause oxidative injury to the inner lining of these arteries and then create those cracks and then trigger off all the glycemic changes which happen. We have been blaming fats for a long time. For ages, it has been drilled and the mankind has been made to believe that it is the fat which is the culprit and it's not the sugar, and you can continue to have all junk food and soft anything which has sugar. So that is one thing I would strongly recommend to all your workforce of 10,000 people. If you are very fond of sugar, please start cutting it down now. It's never late, because that's one thing which you are seeing in your leader who's going to change his eating habits. The other thing is that sweets in the form of vegetables, fruits, are not harmful. So you can have as much fruit as you like. The fruits have antioxidant activity and they form a protective lining on the endothelium of the blood vessels. So it is important to have a fruit every day, avoid white sugar, and then you can have moderate amount of fat. You should eat the right kind of fat. So the oils which you use for cooking should be, the best oil will be mustard oil, canola oil, or olive oil. Olive oil, if it is used for frying the food, loses its advantage. But the mustard oil and the canola oil does not. And the fourth may be a sunflower oil, which a lot of us are using. So the mustard oil is one thing which you should definitely have on several days in a month. You may not have it every day, depending on your choice of food. So this is your cooking medium. And you should have as much fiber as you can. So salads and vegetables and fruits should be a very important part of your diet. One thing which has been noticed in the Indian population, especially, a lot of Indians have allergy to wheat. And you will be surprised, we are basically, our staple foods are rice and wheat. Southern part of the country or the eastern part is rice, and rest of the country it is all wheat. We have to have a wheat ki chapati every morning and evening in our food. So there is a significant chunk of Indian population which is allergic to wheat, and people should try and see if they can cut down the amount of wheat, because the wheat, once it causes inflammation in your intestinal system, gastrointestinal tract, then it triggers a lot of activities which will promote an oxidation injury to the endothelial lining. So these days, a lot of focus is shifting to the gut as being the primary starting point for developing heart blockages. So that is the reason also the gut flora, the bacteria which is there in the gut, should be retained. So one should try and see if you can introduce a probiotic in your diet. Like I like to take curd in some form or the other, either a lassi or curd with my meal or something else, at least once a day, at least 5 days in a week. This is how it happens. So these are things which everybody is not talking about, but here in a week, since we are looking at some specifics to a very well educated audience, these are the things you can observe. Of course, then there will be a lot of other things which people will tell you. It should be less cholesterol, avoid fried foods. So this samosa and kachori on the streets, this has been fried in an oil. Number of times the oil is being used from morning till evening. You don't know how bad the oil has gone, because this oil will have particles in it which will cause oxidative injury to your artery lining. So please see if you can avoid that. You should shift to less oily things or less fried things or baked things. Those are the things. This is on food. Second thing is on exercise. It is very important for all of us to indulge in exercise on a daily basis. At least 5 days in a week, we should spend around 40 to 50 minutes and walk around 4 to 5 hours or 4 to 5 kilometers in a day, or any other equivalent exercise. Maybe you want to go on a treadmill in a gym and then do some light weights, or whatever is your preference. Go swimming, play golf, go play tennis, whatever you like, depending on your preferences. But a physical activity on 4 to 5 days in a week is very important, and you should find time. Maybe not early in the morning if you're working till late in the night. Go in the evening, and just before your meal. Don't go on a full stomach to start your jogging or your exercise, but go on an empty stomach, and please try to do some kind of an activity. If you are still not getting time in your office, request your office people to create a exercise area, create a gym. People can go at different times and work there. Stop taking the lift, climb up 3 4 flights of stairs at least 2 3 times in a day. You will find different ways to exercise. That is the way you will keep your heart healthy, by keeping your sugars down, by keeping your blood pressure down, by keeping your cholesterol down. And so exercise is so important to keep everything down. So a good combination of healthy eating and regular exercise is all you need to do to prevent formation of heart diseases. If you have a family tendency of having heart blockages, again, these are the factors which will aggravate that tendency and develop blockages earlier in life.
Very, I think this again is very informative. And the wheat part, what you said, doctor, I was recently, researching a bit on that. It's actually very interesting. The inflammation cause, which we ignore typically as part of life and go ahead. And one thing that we should take up in the discussion now, because now we have taken these issues, is the stress part. And you mentioned earlier in the life that youngsters have a lot of stress. And you jokingly said, don't give targets. So let me talk again of my experience. No, I think all my life I would have had crazy targets, but never got stressed on that. No, I think as a young person also, I think stress, work are two different things. We get stressed in work nowadays, or in life, or in relationship. I think something also has to be done with social media and the use of phone and connectivity 24/7. No, so even you don't have a free time with yourself, no, with something or relishing nature or something, or the pleasure of working or the pleasure of being alive. I think that you're missing. See, I tell this in a lot of my talks, doctor, that when we start working, we are, let's say, 23, 24, and we'll work till 60. If you're miserable working, you would have had a very miserable life, no? Because our entire youth, we are working, and at 3/4 of our waking time, we are working. And there, if you're not happy, we'll have a very miserable life. So I think that is something we have to constantly talk to us and understand. Are we stressed out? Are we not happy working? Are we not happy living? Are we not happy relishing the beauty of life or nature, or what is it? And we step back and think, why is it so? And we talk to people, friends, counselor, or a therapist, or understand this, because this has to be sorted out. And my one of my belief has been the stress, in addition to what doctor said, would be the maximum multiplier in terms of getting the disease. So I would like to hear Dr. Mathur's view on this, no, on this topic. What does
Yeah,
he feel?
my view on this is very clear, and I'm unpopular amongst my colleagues because they say he is the least stressed and got the best work-life balance. So my reading is that life is a onward process. There is no rush to reach to the top of peak of your career very early in life. You have got, see, what you will enjoy is the upward ride towards success. So life will have success as well as failures also. So in your mind, if you are ready to accept both the failure as well as success, and you are comfortable gaining in life in future, that is what is the most important way you can manage stress. You should not try to uh, tell your colleagues that I am not enjoying anything, I'm only working, and don't try to impress your colleagues. You should share with your colleagues that, okay, I had very good quality time with my family. I went out to play this sport. We went to see that drama, or we went to see that movie, or we went out to eat with the family, or we went out for a break on the weekend. Don't have to go and impress everybody that I was working all weekend and I was doing all the, that is what we need to get out of. So, how to manage your stress is the most important thing, and the best way is that you combine your work with good relaxation time with your family, with your friends. It's very important that you give enough time to your friends also. And an interesting thing, and I'm sure you see in a lot of these social media groups, one of your friends or two of your friends start posting pictures of birds. Then there's another person comes and starts posting pictures of flowers or different kind of things. So we start treating them as a nuisance. Why is he posting these pictures? It's taking away space on my phone, and I have to delete all these things. But do you realize this person is going out into nature? He's spotting a bird, and he's then trying to find a good way to take a picture with his camera, or he's spotting a beautiful flower and he's trying to click a picture of that. So he's trying to manage his stress, and such a beautiful way to do that. You're right in the middle of nature, so you got to look beyond that photo. You need to see the mind of that person, how he has found relaxation in his life. So you can indulge in any kind of activity. You may not start posting all these pictures on your groups, and if they are official working groups, but then you can develop hobbies which will take you away from stress which you have accumulated during work, because you have hard pressed for time and you overburden yourself with your expectations, which is also your fault. You should really not overburden yourself with expectations. Find a practical way where you can teach and make your organization successful.
Very good input, doctor. I think I just one, two questions more, and then no, we'll close this. I know your time. So first is that, let's say now we already gone through quite a bit of a life, and we really led a reckless life, if I may say so, and we do not know कि भी कितना damage और क्या हो गया. Can we have an opportunity to reclaim some of the damage? Can we do things that no would make us healthier over time? No, let's say if somebody is smoking, if they quit smoking, that will it be effective in reclaiming know what damage they have done? So what is the reversal process, if there is any, for us to know think about it?
Uh, the If you stop smoking, you will slowly reduce. When you're smoking, you have got to 4 to 5 times risk of developing a heart attack, and over the next 3, 4, 5 months after stopping smoking, that risk gradually vanishes away. By 1 year, you are like a non-smoker. So it's very important that smoking should be quit at any point of time. It's kind of an addiction, just like you have addiction for several other things. Like some people get addicted to alcohol, some people get addicted to caffeine, people get addicted to sugar. So you have a craving to have something sweet. So all these addictions, anything in excess is not good for your body. Trying to eat a dominantly vegetarian diet is always very good, and it cleans your body from inside if you take a lot of fiber and a lot of vegetables and fruits, and if you exercise a lot. If you have not been exercising this in the past, doesn't matter. It is not that you are supposed to be a non-exerciser for rest of your life. It is always good to get started, and walking is one of the best exercises. It helps your heart, it helps your blood pressure, it helps your cholesterol and sugar. It also helps your muscle of your back, neck, spine, and your legs. You don't realize that. But sooner or later, by sitting so long in your chairs, you're going to develop problems in your back. You'll start wearing various kinds of belts, put different kind of pillows. But this is all because your muscles of your back, the spine muscles, are getting lax. They're not strong enough to hold your spine straight. So then you start pressing your nerves and you start getting pains, all kinds of problems. So good exercise, healthy eating, and avoiding all the junk of smoking and all addictions like sweets and alcohol. Alcohol in moderation is good, and you should not shun alcohol. It's always good to de-stress, but when you start craving for alcohol and you have to have it, that's not a good thing. That's what I would say.
Oh, thank you very much, doctor. I think I never had a more interesting conversation with doctor all my life. I think first of all, we don't go to doctor when we are very happy or no. We normally go when we are stressed out. That I so you can't blame doctors. But secondly, also from a doctor's perspective, such clarity of thoughts, such simple way to explain things, to give effective solutions, and to also tell us that no, even what we have done, if we take corrective measures now, we can reverse it. We can live a healthier life. We can live a happier life. We can much better, and heart can also no, be correcting ourselves. The human body, that was amazing. It has a self-correcting mechanism if you allow it to be. I saw Alpana talk of yoga. I saw Musmil talk of no, in terms of looking at blood donation. I also saw a comment on in terms of cardio exercises, no, how it is, and I also saw a comment on cold pressed, no, oil and all. So I think most of you know the answer. I think it is a question of good light exercises, and you want to do some stressful exercise, it has to be built up. You can't do it overnight. Like today, I suddenly get enthused, ki, asked to I'll run 10 kilometers, come what may. And I've not been walking also for the past 2 years. And I get down and put on my gear, buy a beautiful new shoe, and say I'll do 10 kilometers, come what may. I have a lot of willpower, determination. I'm a super achiever. Then obviously I'm going to cause a problem to myself. I think that is what understanding is. built up has to happen. Professional help has to be there. You to slowly look at your first get a checkup done, then you start building it up instead of trying to just be a Superman or a James Bond. I think don't that doesn't work in real life. Is my understanding of it is. But doctor, I mean, just to thank you, we have planted a tree in your name, for your contribution. And it is, and
Thank you.
you're a tiger among doctors, so we have planted a tree in the Sundarbans,
Oh,
in the tiger
thank
reserve.
you so
In your
much.
So,
It's
and
a
thank
very
you for your
sweet.
time.
Thank
Means
you.
a lot to us,
So
doctor.
it's a pleasure
I think
talking to you, Tapan, and wish you all the very best, all of you. Stay
thank,
healthy. Stay.
thank you,
Bye
doctor.
bye.
Thank you, thank you.